Hey, are you ready to unlock the full potential of XRP and learn two powerful strategies to trade it like a pro? In this video, I'll reveal why XRP deserves your attention going into 2025 and how to use technical analysis to gain an edge in your trades. Hey, I know it's crazy, but many people believe technical analysis doesn't apply to crypto, but they're missing out on opportunities. Why? Because charts reveal the behavior, decisions, and patterns of the people trading that asset. XRP is no exception, and other cryptos are no exception. By the end of this video, you'll understand what makes XRP unique and how to trade it using two actionable strategies, the Trendline breakout, and you'll have to wait for the next one because I'll show you shortly what it looks like. Hi, I'm Dennis Wilborn, a trader with over 3 decades of experience in applying technical analysis to help traders like you make smarter and more profitable decisions. I've guided thousands of traders to understand the markets better, even in volatile conditions. But before we dive into the XRP charts, let me simplify these two trading strategies I'm going to be talking about today. And this will help you visualize the concepts so you can apply them with confidence. Did you know that price charts of stocks, ETFs, and yes, even cryptocurrencies reveal the trading behavior, market sentiment, and emotional responses of all the people both buying and selling? From this information, one can establish solid probabilities of what may take place. No, it's crystal ball, just an indication based on human nature. So let's jump over and take a look at what these two strategies look like. Okay, guys, on all charts, you will find a area of resistance that acts like a ceiling. They're going to be horizontal, like this, or they can be slanted, either this way or even this way. If I look at, let's say, a downtrend like this, what's happened is price action has come up and made a high, fell back, made another high, fell back, made another high. So this level makes a roof line or a ceiling line. And when prices break out through that, we'll cover the trigger here shortly. When they break out through that, that's a great time to look at initially getting in. How does this associate with XRP? Well, I've noticed on the charts of XRP, on the intraday, daily, and even weekly charts, the patterns that show up do reflect nice little slanted pullback roof lines. And it can also work the same for a horizontal where prices have come up, hit the high, come back up, hit the high, come back up, hit the high, pulled back, and then basically come busting back up. And again, there's where I want to be looking at potentially opening a trade. We'll get to the actual triggers here shortly. So, what about the pullback triggers? What I'm looking at a pullback is for prices to be pulling back to a floor that is a level of support. And it looks kind of like this. The floor can either be a flat floor like this, and that's what we're going to be looking at basically. It can also be slanted on a, let's say, an uptrend like this. And what makes the floor for prices to bounce off of? What makes it is price actions that come up, and on a horizontal one, they're basically price action coming up, down, up, down, up, down. And then once you've gotten about 2 to 3 of these, I want to be looking at doing a buy close to that lower level for it to break back up, then to proceed higher. What other price action can basically be doing this type of movement is, let's go ahead and draw that horizontal line in there again. And what you can have is, let's say prices have been moving along very nicely. Prices have basically gone up, hit the high, gone up, hit the high, gone up, broken out. And these past highs touching that makes this a new floor because the resistance level that was here has now been converted into a level of support, or in other words, a floor. Then I look for prices to come back towards that level and then bounce from there. So again, these are very important levels to be aware of in placing particular orders. Now, how does that look? So I'm looking for the trigger setup. So let's go ahead and do the trigger setup on a breakout. So here's my level of resistance, and I'm watching price action as it comes up and touches this and falls back down, comes up and touches this and falls back down. Sorry, I hiccup there. Comes back up and touches it, falls back down, and then all of a sudden it takes off. I can identify this line so I know a short way above that line, I can place an order, a conditional order to buy it. And this would be placing a stop limit order to buy as price action goes through that level. And I want to be buying right there. And one can set that up and make it good till canceled. Again, stop limit order and make it GTC, good till canceled. And actually, once I have an established downward trend, so I know where the resistance is, I could start placing an order right there and continue to fall. Then I can put it right here and just slide it along with my trade, waiting for it to set up. So that's on the breakout. And this is the breakout. What about the support? Well, let's go ahead and just draw a straight line across here like this. And we've gone into one of those situations where price action has bounced up, come down, bounced up, come down, broken out. Then it starts to basically peel out here, coming down, coming down, coming down until it gets close. So I'll identify, you have to remember that this level now of support or the floor is not just a single point or simple single price. It's actually a little bit of a range. So I will place an order slightly above this number, and this will be a limit order. Now, when could I place that order? I could actually start placing that order way back here when I have, once it's broken out, I know that I'm looking for a pullback down to here. Now, here's where the fun begins. Yes, this is where I want to buy at wholesale. However, prices may not get down to that level. And so that's where having the second half of the order, maybe a half a position size on both of them, and I will buy breaking out there. So in reality, I have different orders, two different orders that are on simultaneously. I've established my risk reward, and normally I go with about a half position on the pullback here and a half position on the breakout there. So let's go ahead and jump over and look at some real live examples of XRP. Does this apply? Whenever I look at any entity, and here you can see this weekly chart of XRP going all the way back to 2018 when it made its all-time high, and it came up and tested that. What do you notice about this particular chart? Hopefully, you will notice there's a lot of pullbacks. Hence, that could trigger a breakout trade, and there's a lot of levels of support that could provide a pullback trade. And so let's take a look at what it's looking like in a more recent time frame, like right now. This is a live chart currently. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this and start expanding it out here so we can take a look at what's going on right now. Now, a couple of things I want to identify on this particular chart. Let's talk first about the breakout trade. And a couple of breakout trades that you could be looking at are, I'm going to go ahead and grab this trend line here. And I just go up to the high, and this was the high on this was $2.90. And we've done a really nice pullback. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of the pullback here shortly. I want to cover this for you first. And there's the trend line. So if I were to set up a trade working off of that trend line, now this is a weekly chart. So for the week, it would mean if I break above approximately, there at the trend line is $2.53. And so I may give it like a nickel and say, well, if it breaks $2.58, I want to get into the trade. Now, since the majority of people are buying XRP to hold for a long time, I'm not going to discuss, the idea of putting stop losses in, although I will show you here shortly exactly how some of the people are predicting and projecting where the prices on XRP are going to go. So, breaking out of this level right here, now, next week, let's say prices didn't break out this week. Next week, if I break out of the lower level, and I would reduce my buy to about, let's say, $2.50. That would be, in this particular case, be a stop limit order in that it will, and I make a good till cancel. The stop portion of it would be at 250. The limit order would be at $2.53, 54 cents. And it forces the purchase to be in that small window. And I just leave that on and let it work its magic, if you will, using that conditional order. So that takes care of the breakout type order. What about the pullback order? The pullback order is a little bit more, more interesting, but it is interesting. Rather than doing a trend line, I am going to do a horizontal line. And there's a couple of points on this chart that are very interesting to me. One is the low of this candlestick right here. Now that's at about, let's see, what is that? That is at 190. So I'm going to put a line in there and I can adjust that up and down, if you will. Sometimes I get it right on the nose, sometimes not. There we go, 190. That's one. The other one is here at the high of that week right there. And then another one's down here. And I need to move that one up just a hair, do about there. And that's the ones I'm going to be talking about right now. And then there's another one that's all the way down here. Each one of those 93 cents, 127, 164 are all levels of potential support. And how do I know the levels of potential support? Is the wicks, this long wick that you see right here, that tells us that that's where sellers came in and ripped it to the downside. That's where sellers came in and ripped it to the downside. And over here, that's where sellers came in and ripped it to the downside. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of the amount of the potential move, but I'm going to go ahead and let's just talk about the support line. And let's say I believe that XRP is going to really run hard up to the upside this year in 2025. How much of a pullback do I expect it to be? And so I want a little bit of other confirming information. And to get that confirming information, what I'll use is a Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to go from the high here, which is there, baby, from there, down to the high, to the low right there. And I will just lay that in place. Now, what I'm looking at, folks, is I'm looking at where are my strongest levels of support. And normally that's going to happen here in what I call the magic fib box. And that is from the 618 down to the 38% retracement in that area. Notice there's the 50% retracement. Look to your left. What does that correspond to? That corresponds very nicely with that weekly high. So just above that 50 might be a great place to put in a buy order. What about the second one? The 38% retracement down here is, not quite at that high, but look at that. There is a level of support right there. The other thing, while I'm looking at this, now I convert over to my daily chart. And as you can see with the daily chart, what's happening is price action have started to work their way back up, but the high up here at 290 remains a level of strong resistance. And so then I can start looking at, well, if I break below the 187, then the 164 looks pretty good. And that would put me up at about, I would say, about 175. And then what about the one below that? If it does pull back to the 38% retracement, about 144, which is right in the middle of that congestion. So those are the technical areas where prices could pull back to. How much are you going to be saving if you, in fact, did get filled at one of those lower levels? Well, from where it's at right now, from where the price action is right now, and I want to measure from that high down to approximately that low, that would basically be a drop of about 33%. If we drop down to the 1272 or the one that 127 level right there, that would give us a drop of about 48%. So is it worth hanging around? And if it drops down from where it's at right now, just back to the 190, that's 23%. So having 2 points to buy to me makes a lot of sense. What happens if it just takes off from here and basically just breaks on out above the 290? What happens then? Well, I'm glad you asked. Go ahead back over to the weekly chart because I want to leave you with one other additional piece of information. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw in my Fibonacci again, the high there to the low. Now, if prices do break out, where are we expecting price to go? Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's going to go up to 650. It's going to go up to $7. Where do those numbers come from? Well, somebody is watching the Fibonacci's. The 618 Fibonacci is up there about $6.78. If it just runs 200% or 100% from this breakout point here, it takes it up price action up to 530. How long will it take it to do that? Well, to make this run it did here, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And one of the things that's interesting about XRP, it tends to do those kind of runs on a regular basis. Now, lastly, I'll throw out one other chart for you, and it's this one. Now, this is the monthly chart. Since the month just started, does the current monthly chart favor a move up back up to the upside? And I have to say right now, I'm working off of a monthly bearish reversal signal, which is a shooting star that you see right there. Now, if we break out above that 290 level, all bets are off. That basically voids that shooting star. But with this shooting star, the lower part of it, if it breaks that, that's at 184. And oftentimes we'll get a pullback into the middle third of the big candle in this case, and that would put us down to about 130. And so you let me know what you think. Do you think this reversal is going to work the pull back down and provide us an even better buy opportunity where we can buy at wholesale rather than buying at retail? Hey, which of these two strategies are you most excited to try? I suggest utilizing both of them because one, you'll get the best of both worlds. You won't be left behind if the prices do rally. At the same time, if it pulls back to where that floor is, you'll know you're getting in for even a better discounted price. If you found today's session valuable, don't forget to like this video and share it with fellow traders, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more trading insights like these. Hey, today we explored XRP's unique features and why technical analysis is a powerful tool for trading it. We also covered two strategies, the trendline breakout for catching momentum and the pullback to support for buying at strong levels. So start applying these strategies to your XRP trades and pair them with some of the momentum indicators that we've discussed on other sessions. If you want to dive deeper into some of the successful trading tactics I've developed, check out my next video. It'll be popping up over there. Aloha. God bless everybody.